Hello everybody. I wanted to take the time this morning to do my best to teach you guys how to do Joe Dispenza's breath that he teaches. This breath is definitely a practice and takes time to learn. You have to learn how to use these muscles that you haven't used in a long time, and you have to learn how to strengthen these muscles. These muscles are your energy centers or your chakras, whatever you want to call them. You have 7 chakras, and these are centers that are full of energy, and most of our life, our energy centers or chakras are shut off, and these energy centers have energy in them. They give us life, and we have totally forgotten that they're there. With this breath that Joe Dispenza teaches, it teaches you how to activate your pineal gland. And when you activate your pineal gland, you start experiencing some really mystical things, and you start experiencing these images in your meditations, and you also feel more energy. When you do this breath that I'm going to teach you, you're pushing that energy back up to your brain, and you're creating that life force. It gives you a lot of energy by doing this breath, and it helps to activate your pineal gland. When your pineal gland is activated, it's like a radio receiver, and you start connecting to these frequencies. When you connect to these frequencies, it's like you're tuning in to different channels, and you start experiencing these images in your meditations, and you start having these 5D visuals or DMT visuals. Doing this breath work has changed my life because I've activated my pineal gland, and it's constantly activated. I feel better during my day. I feel like I have more energy, and I have more mystical experiences, I feel like, in my meditations by having my pineal gland activated. Let me explain to you what happens when you do this breath. Obviously, it activates your pineal gland, but how does it activate your pineal gland? Basically, your pineal gland has been calcified because of fluoride in our water, fluoride in our toothpaste. With this breath, it'll teach you how to decalcify your pineal gland. If you do this breath every day and keep activating your pineal gland, you're gonna start to probably hear some like crackling and popping going on up there because you're decalcifying your pineal gland. I've experienced this, and it's absolutely wild. I'm like, whoa, it's been calcified this whole time. I'm pretty sure there's some images on Google that you can search that will show you what a calcified pineal gland looks like and what a healthy pineal gland looks like. So this breath will teach you how to activate your pineal gland, and so you can decalcify it and experience who you really are. You know, the pineal gland, we call it the sixth chakra, the 6th area. It's up there. It's like right in the middle of your brain. You can look this up on YouTube. There's a few videos. I'll put a link down below of this guy that really explains it really well and has a great visual of an actual brain that shows a pineal gland. It is amazing, and if you look at an image before you do this breath, you'll know where it is, and you can focus in on it so you can activate it quicker. When you do this breath, you have to squeeze each chakra, each energy center. And when you squeeze each energy center, you're squeezing up cerebral spinal fluid, and that goes all the way up to your pineal gland. And when it gets to your pineal gland, it sprays on these crystals on your pineal gland, and those crystals create a negative and positive charge, and then that creates a radio receiver. And then once you create that radio receiver, it creates, a radio receiver around your whole body, and you become the North and South Pole. We are so connected to the universe, it's insane. Anyways, that's a little explanation of what happens when you activate your pineal gland. You activate a radio receiver and tune in to different vibrations and different frequencies. I'm still learning so much about this. I've only been meditating for like a little bit more than a year. I've been doing this breath maybe every day for the past 5 months now, so it's still very new to me. But I've never felt better in my life activating my pineal gland. When you wake it up, you are going to be very surprised of how awesome life is and how awesome life can be not living in your lower centers, which is where sadness and depression is. I have some other videos that you can check out that talks about my experiences with meditation and how it's changed my life and how I've connected with other beings and other frequencies because of sitting with my body and connecting my heart and my brain and waking up my pineal gland. Okay, so let me kind of explain to you how to do the breath, and I'll do my best. There's also a few other videos you can find on YouTube of people that explain this breath work too. So if you want to get more ideas of how to do this breath by Joe Dispenza, look it up on YouTube. There's many people that are talking about this breath and how to do it. So if you want to expand on your practice and get better at squeezing your energy centers, you can look it up on YouTube. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best to explain to you how to do this breath. It takes a lot of practice. You're not gonna get it in a week, probably. You're not gonna maybe get it in 2 weeks, but you might. Everyone will learn differently. I was able to activate my pineal gland, I think within a couple of weeks, but I did practice this breath every day, so it's going to be different for everyone, and I'm still learning different ways of how to do this breath. It's changed a lot for me over the past 5 months of how I'm contracting my muscles and how I'm doing this breath. So don't feel discouraged if you don't get it within even a month. You just got to keep practicing it and keep focusing in on your pineal gland when you're doing this breath. So I want to first explain where the energy centers are, or chakras, whatever you want to call them. There's a lot of different names. I'm just going to name them from what I know. And with Joe's work, he names them with the numbers. So you have your root chakra, your perineum, which is right here. And that's one energy center. That's number 1. And then you have number 2, which is about right here. And this is called the navel. And then you have number 3, which is your stomach, your gut. There's another name for it. I don't remember. But you got your gut, which is number 3. And then you have number 4, which is your chest, and that is your heart, your magnet. So your heart is number 4. And then you have number 5, which is your throat chakra, a very important one. And then you have number 6, which is like the middle of the brain, basically like the nose to the back of your throat, back of your head, and that's where you can find the pineal gland. The pineal gland is right in the middle of number 6. The pineal gland, yeah, it's right in number 6, right in the middle of your brain. It's literally in the middle. And like I said, with the pineal gland center, number 6, feel free to look up the pineal gland so you know where it's at, so you can learn to activate it and focus in on it. So you got number 6, and then you have number 7, which is the top of your brain. Top of your brain, left, right, front, back. Top of your brain is number 7. I don't know the name of that one. I can't remember, but they all have names. They all have names for the chakras, but I like to make it simple and go off of Joe Dispenza's work and just, 1 through 7. 1, root, 2, navel, 3, stomach, 4, heart, 5, throat, 6, middle brain, pineal gland, and 7, the top of your brain. This isn't a part of the breathwork, but you actually have an 8th center, which is the top. It's not the tip of your brain, but it's right above your brain, and you can focus in on that 8th center as well. So you have these energy centers, you have these chakras. What you want to do is you want to squeeze each energy center or each chakra when you do this breath. While you're squeezing these energy centers, you're slowly breathing in. So just practice up to your heart first. So practice squeezing each energy center up to your heart. So you'll exhale. Focus on 1, squeeze 1, breathe in. Squeeze 2, breathe in. Squeeze 3, your stomach. Breathe in. Squeeze 4, your heart, and hold it. And squeeze a little bit more, squeeze them out. And exhale, let it out. So I recommend squeezing just your 4 centers at first so you can get used to those muscles because they are probably asleep and you haven't used them. So I recommend practice squeezing each 4 centers at first, and then once you get used to those 4 energy centers and you feel like you have a little bit of muscle strength, and you can do this, in a day, you can start going up to number 7. I recommend at least going up to your heart for the first day or so. After you start squeezing up to your heart, then you need to start squeezing and breathing in to your throat, number 5, to number 6, your pineal gland, and if you want, to number 7. Some people, I know, they focus in on just the top of their head to get the energy going up in general. Since most people don't know where their pineal gland is at, I do recommend just focusing on the tip of your head when you do this breath and squeeze your energy centers so you have a location, because you can feel the top of your head. And then after a while, after you've been doing this breath, you can start focusing in on number 6, your pineal gland. And the more you focus in on your pineal gland, the more you'll start to feel your pineal gland and you'll feel that muscle. And then you can just focus breathing into number 6, or you can keep focusing in to number 7, your brain. So let's get back to it. So I'm going to practice again just the breath up to your heart, and then we'll move into all the way up to number 7, the tip of your brain, which will help push that energy out of your lower centers into your higher centers, and will release this beautiful energy in your brain and will help create more brain waves in your brain, and you'll start feeling a lot better. And I promise this is just a practice. The more you squeeze, the more you practice these muscles, the more you're gonna get used to breathing in, and your lung strength will get better. You're gonna have more oxygen, and you'll be able to do this breath really easy. Let's practice one more time, going to the heart. I like to breathe in a little bit. Exhale, let it out. Squeeze number 1, your root chakra. Breathe in slowly. Number 2, your navel. Squeeze it. Breathe in. Number 3, your stomach. Squeeze that center. Up to number 4. Squeeze number 4, your heart. Squeeze. Squeeze it up, push that cerebral spinal fluid up to number 4, and hold it. And exhale. So when you start doing this breath, you're gonna notice these chakras waking up, these energy centers waking up, and you're gonna start feeling some energy moving through your body. And so don't get freaked out. This is a part of waking up these muscles. The energy has been stuck in your root chakra. So you need to push it out. You need to push it up to the brain. When you push it up to the brain, you will start feeling energy move through your body. When I activated all my chakras, I experienced like, whoa, like shakiness and like the jolts and all this stuff, because your energy centers are waking up. So that will happen, so don't freak out. It honestly lasted for a couple weeks for me, where I was like in bed and I would just be jolting because my energy centers were waking up, my chakras were waking up. So don't be freaked out if that happens. It is a part of the process. So when you're doing this breath, I want to mention that you won't have much lung capacity at first if you're not someone who practices breath work. So don't get down on yourself. Keep practicing, keep training those new muscles in your chakras. Your lung capacity will get better, I promise. It gets better every time I do the breath, so don't get down. If you don't get much breath in, just do the best you can. Squeeze each muscle as best as you can. If you're not getting it right away, that is a part of training these muscles. So the practice takes time. It could take months, so don't get down on yourself. It truly is just a practice. You got to train those muscles that have been asleep. Keep practicing, and when you squeeze up to number 4, take it really slow. Take the breath slow. Don't breathe too fast. You want to take the time with your breath as you're squeezing each center. Okay, so now we practice the heart, getting to your heart, moving 1, 2, 3, 4 to the heart, moving that energy to your heart. Now, let's practice getting it to number 7, the tip of your brain. This is when the magic will start to happen. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna breathe in. Breathe down to number 1, your root, breathe in. Squeeze number 1, 2, squeeze number 2, 3, your stomach, squeeze. Breathe in. Keep breathing. Number 4, your heart, squeeze. Breathe in to number 5, squeeze. Number 5. Squeeze up to number 6. Squeeze up to number 7, the tip of your brain. And hold it. Squeeze those energy centers. Squeeze that cerebral spinal fluid up into number 7. And release your breath, release your energy centers. Everyone is going to experience this practice differently, so please look up other YouTube videos that show this type of breath. Search Joe Dispenza breath, and you'll find other people who are teaching this, so you can learn other ways to train those muscles. Okay, so we just went to number 7, and it feels like a lot. And don't feel discouraged if you don't get all the way to 7, your brain. Don't feel discouraged if you're having trouble contracting those muscles, because like I said, those muscles are asleep and have been asleep. So you gotta keep training, keep squeezing, keep practicing your breath, and you will eventually get it, but it will take some time, so don't get discouraged. Okay, so we just went up to number 7. I know that feels like a lot, especially if you've never done this. It was mind-blowing to me when I first was learning about this. I was like, what is this? But the more you do it, the more you're gonna start experiencing some awesome energy going through your body. And what you can do, if you want, you can find some music that's kind of upbeat or meditation music, whatever really you want to help like move these energy centers. I will post a link to all of Joe's breaths. He has I believe a bundle that you can buy that's called Inspire. It's a version 2, and he has all his breath tracks on there, and he'll guide you through each energy center. And it's not too expensive. It's so worth it because he has really good music, and the way he guides you really will help to activate your pineal gland. So I'll put a link in the description that has Joe Dispenza's breath techniques, and you can download them and it'll really help. But if you don't want to download them, you can practice his breath with maybe some music to kind of help move that energy, get excited. Before we get started on the second time around, I want you to just practice squeezing each energy center. So let's practice squeezing number 1, your root, your perineum, number 1, squeeze it. This is the muscle where you create life with. This is the muscle where you use the bathroom with. You know what I'm talking about. Squeeze that muscle. Practice squeezing it. Find out where it is. Okay, now let's practice number 2, your navel, which is right below your stomach. I'm not really sure what that muscle is, but the more you tune into that middle area right between 3 and 1, the navel, you'll start activating it, but tune into it, think about it. Squeeze it. Practice squeezing number 2, the navel. Practice, practice, practice. Tune into it. Okay? Now let's practice number 3, your stomach, your gut, where all that sadness is. Let's squeeze that and find out where it is. Squeeze that muscle. It took me a long time to find out where all these muscles were because they've been asleep. So squeeze number 3. Nice. Most of you guys probably will know where number 3 is, your stomach. Now let's practice number 4, your chest, your heart. Let's practice tightening that area. Yep. Great. It's all practice. Practice each muscle. Okay, let's practice your throat. Tune into your throat. Tune into your neck. Squeeze. When you're squeezing these muscles, don't squeeze too hard that you hurt yourself. Just practice it. It's a muscle. Keep practicing the squeeze. Don't hurt yourself. Okay, let's think about number 6. The middle of your brain, where the pineal gland is. Think about number 6. To help you think about where number 6 is, where your brain is, look up the pineal gland, find out where it is. Also look up your brain, where are parts of your brain at, so you can learn to activate your brain. The more you start thinking about the brain, the more you can tune into your left brain, your right brain, your front brain, and your back brain, and you'll feel those muscles. You'll start to activate it again. And number 7 is the tip of your head. Think about that. Obviously you can't really squeeze too much with these. I'm trying to squeeze it. Maybe number 6 because I know where my pineal gland is and I can feel the muscle there now. But number 7, it's kind of a tough one. So just think about the tip of your brain. Think about the top of your brain, the front, back, left, right of your brain. Activate those areas that have been asleep. Now that we've figured out where our energy centers are and we've practiced squeezing them and practiced focusing in on them, let's get started with doing this breath work again, activating, squeezing up, pushing that cerebral spinal fluid all the way up to number 7, the tip of your brain. So here we go. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe out to number 1, your root chakra. Squeeze number 1. Now breathe in, slow. Squeeze number 2, your navel. Keep breathing in slowly. Breathe up to number 3. Squeeze. Number 3, your gut, your stomach. Squeeze 3. Keep breathing slowly up to number 4. Your chest, your heart. Squeeze up to number 5. Your throat. Squeeze that center. Now squeeze up to number 6, the middle of your brain where the pineal gland is. Now squeeze up to number 7, the tip of your brain. Now squeeze all of them together. Release, breathe out. Number 7, breathe out. Okay, now I'm gonna show you an example of me doing the breath. I don't think I'm allowed to play Joe Dispenza's, even a little bit of his breath work, his track. So I don't wanna get in trouble for that. But I'm gonna show you what happens with my body as I squeeze up the energy, squeeze each center. I also practice this. I put my hands together and I push up. This is what Joe teaches. Kind of help squeeze that cerebral spinal fluid. When you get to your neck, you push down your shoulders so you can really get the last of that up to your pineal gland. So pushing your hands together, getting that squeeze through your neck so it hits to the pineal gland really helps. So you're welcome to do this. Squeeze up. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. But you also don't have to do that. You can just squeeze your energy centers up to your pineal gland. But pushing your hands together and putting your shoulders down, it helps push up the cerebral spinal fluid more. So it's up to you guys. I do want to mention when you're doing this breath, be careful. Don't hurt yourself. Take your time. Learn these muscles. Practice them. Over time, then you can start really pushing it. But take your time so you don't hurt yourself. I do want to recommend that, but over time you'll start to squeeze even more, so just be careful. When you're moving all that energy and moving that breath, people do pass out sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time, but when you're pushing up that energy, you can lose consciousness. The more you do it, the more I feel like that, it doesn't happen to me as much. I don't get lightheaded as much because I've worked on my muscles, worked on my lung capacity. And so be careful. Make sure you're sitting down when you're doing this breath. Make sure you have something to lean back on. Make sure you have, maybe some pillows by you. So if you do pass out for some reason, like I said, it doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen. So be careful. You lose a bit of consciousness because you're pushing up that energy to your brain. So make sure you have some soft stuff by you if you're someone who passes out a lot. Yeah, I do want to recommend that. So make sure you are safe in your area when you're practicing this breath. I want to show you guys the breath. You won't be able to hear the music, but like I said, I'll put Joe Dispenza's audio tracks to his guided breath work below. So yeah, let's do this. I'll show you what I look like when I do the breath and how you'll see me squeeze and you'll start me shake a little bit. Everyone reacts differently to waking up your energy centers. There's not a right or wrong way, I don't think, but it's all about squeezing those centers all the way up to your pineal gland. So you activate that pineal gland, squeeze that cerebral spinal fluid up into your pineal gland. So when I go into meditation, I like to use a blindfold because I like it really dark. But you can just close your eyes, whatever is best for you. Let me show you guys what it looks like when I do the breath. And I do this about 6 to 7 times because that's about how many times Joe does it in his guided breath work tracks. But feel free to do it as many times as you want. But yeah, I recommend 5 or 6 times when you're starting out, and then if you want to go further, you're welcome to. All right, let's do it.
Find your rhythm.
I'm gonna make a version of me doing the breath with sound, and so you can kind of hear what my muscles are doing, what my breath is doing, what noises I'm making, because you're gonna probably make some involuntary noises when you're doing this breath work at first. And you know, the more you do this breath work, raise your frequency and squeeze your energy centers and move that energy up to your brain, you might have some involuntary noises that will be surprising, but that is the dragon being released from your body. There is a dragon inside of you, that is for sure. And it might come out in a crazy way. So if you experience some involuntary noises, some noises of like, ah, or like even some moaning or whatever sound comes out, laughing, you might even laugh hysterically. Don't be surprised. You're waking up the dragon. Okay, so that's the video of me showing you how to do Joe Dispenza's breath work. Like I said, there's other videos online that you can search that people are doing that explains Joe Dispenza's breath work, so please look those up too if you're not getting all of it with my video. But I hope this video helps you out, helps to remind you that there's a radio receiver in your brain, and it's called the pineal gland, and it's calcified right now probably. So this activation and this breath work will activate your pineal gland. The more you do it, the more you're gonna decalcify your pineal gland, the more you're gonna open up your third eye. Thank you so much for tuning in to this breath work by Joe Dispenza and the technique on how to do it. I have some other videos you can check out that talk about my experience with meditation and my meditation practice and these experiences I've had with other beings and being at these higher frequencies during meditation. Check those out if you'd like. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.